This is my video explaining some aspects, some details, and the history of the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. Um, but more specifically, the Plateria's facade, which is the south facade of this cathedral. So the first thing that we should know about this building is that it is found in the heart of Galicia in Spain. This is the final destination of the renowned Camino de Santiago pilgrimage route. This cathedral is no mere architectural spectacle but a testament of the spiritual journeys and historical evolution. But why is that? Well, the history that we have of which we have with this cathedral is that the remains of the Apostle Saint James are buried here in Santiago de Compostela. And turns out that following his martyrdom in Jerusalem, followers are said to have transported his body to Spain, where it lay completely forgotten for centuries. It wasn't until the 9th century that that the, the, the tomb was discovered. By the time the King Alfonso II, recognizing its spiritual significance, he ordered the construction of this chapel on the site. This establishment of this humble chapel marked the beginning of what would eventually become in Grand Santiago de Compostela Cathedral. So, this construction was initially Romanesque because it possessed stout walls, round arches, and heavy columns. But as centuries passed, the cathedral underwent architectural transformation, echoing the styles of influence of the eras. The first one, which is the Gothic influence, went by the 13th century, between the 13th century and the 14th centuries, and later on between the 16th century and the 18th centuries, the Renaissance and Baroque modifications were done in this edification. The Camino de Santiago, of the Way of Saint James, emerged as one of the most significant Christian pilgrimages. Thousands, if not millions, of pilgrims traveled challenges terrains driven by faith, penance, or spiritual exploration, with the cathedral as their final destination. But these pilgrimages are one of the problems that this cathedral faced, because due to all the amount of pilgrims that go to this place, some of the parts of this cathedral has been deteriorated by the human human activity, but also because of conflicts that took place in this area, and also some natural wear and tear of damage inflicted during historical conflicts. So much of the pilgrims that journeyed towards the Santiago de Compostela Cathedral has faced its share of challenges over the centuries. And one of the most important parts of this cathedral is the cathedral's longevity mirrors, because over the years numerous restoration projects have been initiated to ensure its survival, and modern day conservation isn't just about preserving bricks and mortar but encapsulating the essence of the spiritual epicenter. So now that we know that, we can explain more about the Plateria's facade and why it's so important. First, this is the entrance that connects the south arm of the cathedral with the exterior, and it takes its name uh, as well as the square that opens before it from the existence, according to the tradition of silversmith shops are goldsmith that were nearby. That's why they call the Plateria's facade. So This cover has had to blend it with other medieval facades of the cathedral, particularly with the erstwhile facade known as Porta Franciscana or del Paraíso. That means that through the decades, through all the modification that this facade faced, many of the figures, the reliefs, the iconography that were meant to be part of other parts of the cathedral were sent here, and it resulted in this big puzzle, in this big mosaic, uh, and that is because through the years at least four masters in execution, four masters of execution were involved in the construction, in the modification of this uh, part of the cathedral, as well as the fact of having received some pieces originally conceived for other locations, such as the aforementioned Franciscana door. So, the structure and most of the decorative elements over the cover of the Plateria tend to date from between 1078 and 1103 years. These two images are from this place. The first one, niños precedentes del coro del maestro Mateo, placed here in the in the following years by López Ferreiro, and reliefs de la Transfiguración del Señor. We also have the Rey David and the Adam's creation, and also we have lateral lions in the doors of the entrance of the cathedral. This is iconography that were meant to be part of other parts of the of the cathedral, but they moved here to complete this part of the. So it's just like a collage of the scenes, of histories, of uh, characters, etc., etc. Then a big important of this facade are the airdromes, which are the principal entrance of this part of the cathedral. The airdromes and frieze are profusely decorated with figurative reliefs and sculptures of apostles, angels, various representations of sin, like the centaur, the mermaid, men riding a roster, etc. Also, we have the months of the year and the zodiacal signs. And as I said before, it's just like a big puzzle of images. Here we can see some examples. We have this gargoyle, and other we have this. I think it's Medusa. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, we have various scenarios only in one airdrop. So among the figurative scenes, can be recognized the themes of the Epiphany also, the temptation of Christ, and various scenes of the Passion, such as the trial of Pilate, the flowing and the betrayal of Judas. The whole constitutes, therefore, a great iconography program of historical theme, presided over by the sculptures of Christ and James, probably part of the scene of the Transfiguration that occupy the center of the upper frieze. I didn't find images about this because I don't know well the place, but they are well so similar, and the details are so diminutive that it is very difficult to find an image with high resolution to explain this part, but they are part of this puzzle. Finally, there are other figures and reliefs of diverse origins arranged on the sides of the portico, Of particular value is the relief of King David and the scene of the creation of Adam, which are these two images, and which, like many of the elements of the tympanus and frieze, will have come from the missing Franciscana gate. I also found this entrance, the Plateria, like it was meant to have a very different aspect, but due to all the problems, due to all the modification, they complete this entrance with other parts of the of the cathedral. And yeah, this is a I think it's a very interesting thing to say. It's very common to ignore all these details, but once you noticed, you always keep noticing more and more and more details. For example, the reliefs of this column, I didn't see it at first, or the characters of here, I didn't notice as well at first. And you can see that all the images are differently deteriorated. These are more complete. That, for example, the lions on the laterals, you can see how they are completely, uh, yeah, they are not well lined. They are, I forgot the word, but yeah, it's more deteriorated than the Adam's creation. Also, the first image with the niños precedentes del coro de Maestro Mateo are more preserved than the lions of the laterals. So it's an interesting scene, and I hope that someday I can watch this scenario for myself by myself. Sorry. So that's all for this video, and see you later. Thank you.